What's up out there, y'all? Hopefully, y'all can hear me. But I'm doing something a little different. Y'all come in, man. I've been gone for a while. It's a midnight show. I'm in my office. So, I decided I'm going to go live real quick. So, I'm in my office today. I'm not in my traditional studio, but we just coming in live, man. I haven't talked to you guys in a little minute. I think it's midnight on the East Coast, 10 o'clock at night over here. But I just want to talk about what the current market is doing. Like I always tell people, when the market is down, I'm quiet. When the market comes back, here I am again. The market's not really back right now, the investments and stuff like that. But hey, we're here. So y'all come on in. Tell me how y'all feeling. If you are up this late, if you're not up this late, you catch the playback. That's cool too. Or you can catch the podcast. Y'all know the podcast is out there on Spotify. I've been gone now for 2 months. I haven't put up a podcast. I just put up one the other day, but I'm getting back in the swing of things. As you guys and girls already know, running your own business, doing your own thing, it requires a lot. Oh, there go my. Hey, what's going on, Antonio? Chris, I don't know if you remember. I told you this. Glad you said something. We talked about good. He says it's been a minute since he's seen me. I don't have my board in front of me to do my sound effects. I'm just sitting in my office where I usually record is right behind me in my other room. But he says, long time, good to see you. Yeah, man, good to see you too. Remember that Gush? Remember, I don't know if you asked me this year. Yeah, he said it's 12:23 midnight here in Philly. Yes, it's 10 o'clock, 10:23 here in Denver, Colorado. But it was late night. I don't try to find the perfect time. I'm going to get back into it and do more 5 o'clock things like that. But and be more frequent. I don't want to take you guys and girls for granted who has put me out there over the years and helped me out and stuff like that. So here I am. Pete forever, he says, "Hats up, Prince. I'm here driving to New Mexico, then back to Phoenix." All right, okay. I did. Okay. Phoenix. I told you, the Denver Nuggets, every week can have it go over the NBA again. So shout out to Colorado Buffalo. I was at that game Saturday, the Denver Nuggets. Guys, you guys follow me on social media, since retiring from the military, my schedule has gotten a whole lot more hectic. I started my own firm, my own registered investment advisory, where I manage accounts for clients registered here in Colorado and soon to be Georgia. And that also dealing with, you have a lot of compliance things you have to do, a lot of events, press, stuff like that, foundation. So it's a lot going on. It is a lot, but I love it. I love every minute of it. It keeps me busy. I'm working on my 4th book. Wesley Learns About Real Estate, releasing in April of next year. Getting the final touches on that thing, finishing that up. So life has been pretty busy, but I've been on the back end following everything, and I want to share that with you guys. All right. So I'm going to get back in here and let's get into it, man. Let's get into the raw, raunchy, good finances, not that little glary over stuff. So as we can see, the first thing I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, everybody this year, they said, hey, man, look at the market is down. Cash has been king. I'm going to call it hot cash. Hot cash. What I mean by hot cash is cash has been a hot thing. You can't go nowhere without somebody offering you 4 or 5% on cash right now. I mean, 4 or 5% with a down market and a choppy market sounds pretty freaking good, right? So I have some well-off friends and stuff like that. Dude, I'm getting 5% on cash. Everybody ran to the hot cash. Cash has been hot everywhere you go. So we have an inverted yield curve. Inverted yield curve means that the short-term interest rates are rising and the long-term interest rates are said to be down. So the curve looks like this. It's high now, then it looks like this. So meaning that interest rates are high now and they're expecting them to drop in the long term. So with interest rates, we already know, we talked about this a million times for people who's never tuned into the show. What we talked about is the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates to cool off the economy, to cool off inflation. And you've kind of seen it working when inflation down. Overall inflation is like 3% that they're reporting, right? So as you raise interest rates, everything has become more expensive. The stock market cools down. Also, when the stock market cools down, You also going to have real estate. The prices of real estate are going to cool down too. You've seen people run out here and try to do real estate, but the thing about it is people looking at interest rates go up. But all that is supposed to happen, right? So as these interest rates are going up, it sucks when you are borrowing money. Meaning if you owe a credit card or you go out to borrow money, you're borrowing money to go expand your company. That is hard to do, right? That's a very hard thing to go out and do right now. But the downside or the upside to that is savings accounts, CDs and savings account. Cash has been hot. You can get 4 or 5% on the money market. A CD, we haven't seen getting 4 or 5% in a bank account in a long time, right? So a lot of people got hot on that and ran to that and whatever, right? It's good for people. It's a great market for savers. But for long-term investors, don't lose your eyes off of the prize. Because yet and still, with all this going on, the market so far to this day, November 9th, from January to November 9th, is up 15%. That's the SP 500. That's your top 500 companies. That is the benchmark of finance. That is up 15%. And that's going through all the crazy stuff we had throughout this year. And I'm going to keep it real with y'all. It's something that I realized when I was you guys who really follow me know, I retired from the military. I did 20 years. I came in 2003, right out of high school. I retired in 2023, right? And that 20-year span, I went back and I thought about it. I said, you know what? Let me go look at the SP 500. I look at the SP 500 from the day I enlisted to the day I retired, 20-year span, from 2003 to 2023. The market quadrupled, 400% return, right? Now, granted, I'm going to give you a disclaimer. We had the longest running bull market we ever had from 2010 to 2020 to that pandemic. That was the longest running bull market we ever had, right? On top of that, but also we had the biggest collapse of real estate that happened in 07, 08. 07 through 09, that was a dark time. The pandemic, we didn't know what was going on. So with all that crap that happened, we got our first Black president, Barack Obama. President Trump came in. President Biden came in. We had war. We got gas prices all over the place. We got a war going on in Ukraine. We got a war going on in, where's the other place? Middle East, right? The Middle East. We got Ukraine. We got tensions in China. All of that bull crap that happened. The stock market crashed in 2008. The pandemic. All that happened in my 20-year span. Yet and still, the SP 500 did 400%. And the thing about it, was so hard about it was, what's going on, Al? What's going on? That's my guy, Al. He's out here in Denver. What's going on, y'all? I know it's midnight over on the East Coast, but we still ain't here. So here's the thing, guys. Out of all that crap that happened, the market still did 400%. Now, throughout my time, I saw so many buddies that went off and did crazy things. Oh, man, they got into, you had crypto, you had Bitcoin, they had lottery tickets, get-rich schemes all over the place. All this flippity-flip, flippity-flop stuff that's going on. I like the, what's his name said it? I can't think of it now. But all this stuff that was going on was really distractions from keeping people invested. You saw so many schemes and scams and this and that going on. How many of those people did 400% in 20 years? That's the average. If you take that 400%, that's the average of 20% a year. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in 1 year. It didn't happen in 2 years. All those type of things. It just started to happen over time. Hold on. Oh, shout out to my guy, Al. Look at that. Put forth out. I wish I'd have had my sound effects. I'm not in my studio. I'm just in my office, and I just went live. Shout out to Al, man. Always holding me down and always coming through, man. So he dropped $4.99. $4.99. So guess what? That's going to go to my book drive. As you guys and girls can see, we're doing a book drive again starting next month, where we raise money every year and we give away books and stocks. Wesley Learns to Invest, Credit, and Insurance through our foundation, our nonprofit. Some of you guys here who are tuning in live and will catch the playback have done that. So thank you, man. Definitely appreciate that. So here's the thing. When you see people go out into this world, You got all these distractions. Look at this year. We started off great this year. We started off fine this year, ladies and gentlemen, with our investments. Market was doing good. But in the last couple of months, it took a downturn. Everybody said the world was coming to an end and blah, blah, blah. Me, I'm a bull. I just uploaded a picture of my son and I on the bull on Wall Street because I'm always going to stay on the side of the bull. So through all this crap we had going on so far this year, market's still up 15%. Look at your overall portfolio. I don't want you to look at an individual stock. Did your overall portfolio beat or match the SP 500 15% so far this year? Now, you could have different strategies. I don't know. But that's something you got to keep in mind. People got the hot cash, everybody got so interested in interest rates, which is fine for if you're saving money. But if you're trying to grow your money, I knew some people who got so hot into interest rates being at 5%, they lost sight of the market, which has done 15%. So that's something I want you guys and girls to think about and to keep in your mind, because as you're going through the world of investing, you'll realize most of the stuff you see out here is bull crap and distractions. And you know what? I want to talk to y'all about something. I'm going to, as we're going to go through this episode, I recently went to a prison. And I'm going to put this up here, my prison visit. I didn't even write this, but it's just a real talk. I recently was at a prison, right? I never been to a prison in my life. Knock on wood. I don't plan on going either. I got an invitation to come to a prison, right? And when I got this invitation to come to a prison, they wanted me to come be a part of a program called Breakthrough. And I did not want to go. I saw it and I said, man, I said, a prison. I said, man, that's crazy. What am I going to go talk at a prison for? That don't make sense. I never been to a prison in my life, right? So I go to this prison and y'all ready for this? Hold on, did it come up? Hold on, I got to put this up. I got to mark this. I want us to stroll at the bottom here. My prison visit. So I go to a level 5 prison here in Colorado in the middle of nowhere called CCF. I go to this prison visit and this is what I learned. Level 5, guys who've been in there 20, 30 years. Now we're going to have some grown man talk here too. First thing I learned when I went to this prison was a lot of guys that was in there at my age. I just had my 39th birthday. Most of the people that were in prison are in prison because of something they did at a young age. Can you believe that? Something they did at 18, 19, 20, 23 has plagued them for the last 30 years, right? So when I initially saw this, that was a shocker to me. You could make a mistake at 18 and 19 years old that could plague you for the rest of your life. Crazy to think that, but that's just the way the world works, right? But I thank God we didn't have social media when I was young. Just think about if I'd had social media. So here's the thing, right? I go to this prison and I'm part of this program called Breakthrough, where they wanted me to come in and talk to prisoners about their business. They was pitching business plans, right? So I was very shocked about what these prisoners knew. Some of these prisoners wrote 4 books. I've been writing on I mentally written my book, my 4th book, probably, 3 years ago. Now to physically sit down and type out this book, it has taken me months to do. A little bit here, a little bit there. I don't know. It's just a children's book, but it's a children's book about real estate, real life real estate and things like that. That's coming from my son and I, but I put a lot of thought behind whatever I do. This guy had wrote 4 children's books in prison in like a year or 2. And I was wondering, dude, how did you write 4 children's books? How'd you have the time? Man, I thought about it. I have nothing but time. I saw these people start businesses. They knew all this stuff. They had the knowledge. There wasn't some barbarian sitting behind a wall. I said, man, you guys know all of this. You guys do all this. How y'all have all the time to do this? I realized they have all the time to do this because they don't have distractions, as many distractions as we have in life. When we're in life, we have our wife, our kids, our dog, our hats, all these things that are going on. We fail to realize what's really happening, right? So it made me realize when I was in prison, I learned about myself. Hey, and I talked to one of my mentors. He said, how much of your activity is equal to impact? What are you doing in this world? You might be doing a bunch of stuff. Are you being productive or are you being busy? So if you're being productive or being busy, and when I saw these guys in prison, what they're able to accomplish just from um, what they're able to accomplish just because of time management, right? So that was something I learned. And then when I came home, I realized, like, man, I need to think like a prisoner in a way to accomplish more. Look how much they accomplish just by having time, right? So that's the first thing that I noticed when I went to prison too. To that prison, that's the biggest thing I took away was time management and how one decision, one day, one night, one split second could change your whole entire life. Taking you back to the world of investing, you don't have to get all of them right. You just got to get one right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if Anton is in here still out there in Philly. I know he said it was past midnight in Philly. He probably fell asleep or went to sleep. But if you're listening to this or you catch the playback, Anton, I want you to remember something. I don't know if you remember when I told you this. I don't know if you remember when I told you this, Antonio. I said this year, go for want. You was giving me praise for gush. And I said this is going to be the year of want, right? Because the market rotates. You know what I mean? Oh, you are here, Antonio. Tony, I want you to listen to this. Want. Do you remember when I told you about want? WANT. I remember seeing your comment. You was talking about. Um, he was saying he just said I needed to hear that. Yeah, because so many times in life, man, I realized how your life is so full of distractions. People, I'm not trying to be rude, but some people invite me to come do and say a lot of things. And they're just like, Prince, it's only going to take 1 hour of your time. I felt bad for that, Anton. Somebody asked me to come mentor a kid, right? Somebody said, Prince, would you come mentor a kid? It's only going to take you 1 hour a week, and you're African American, you're a black male. It'll mean so much to you as a black successful man to come in and mentor this kid. And it says only 1 hour a week. And I say, it's not 1 hour a week. It's like, that's going to take a whole day out of my week. They're like, what do you mean? I said, you want me to be there from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, right? That means I have to be on the road by 12 o'clock. That means in order to be on the road by 12 o'clock, I got to be getting ready by 11 o'clock, right? So I got to get ready at 11. I got to be on the road by 12. I have to be there at 1. I have to spend an hour with the child to 2. I got to get back into my truck. Then by the time I might grab something to eat, by the time I get back home, that's 5 o'clock. That 1 hour is really 6 hours gone out of my day. That whole afternoon is gone. That means my day stops at 11 o'clock on Thursday. That's what makes it tough. So you look at time, because people think the greatest flex in life is their salary, having big jobs, having big, powerful positions. That's not me. As I got older, I realized that the ability to have the time to do what's important to you is the true definition of wealth. Time. Time is bigger, better than money, right? So that's the whole point we're here for. We're here to make money to create the time to do what the heck it is that we want to do. Thankfully enough, retiring from the military, I have the ability to do the things that I'm passionate about, right? Oh, that's my guy, Max B. Max B, what's going on, Max B? Glad to see you here, man. I mean, it's pretty late out here. So definitely appreciate y'all for stopping through. So that's the thing. You said you need to hear that, man. I went to that prison and I saw how these guys in this level 5 prison, these guys are shanking. These people get killed in there. I don't have any pictures from it because I wasn't allowed to take any pictures. Uh, you know, I couldn't take any pictures in there because of everything like that. But I saw how these guys was accomplishing more than I was accomplishing, and they were in prison. I would say, hey man, read this book. They already read the book. They read the book in 1 week. This is my latest book on reading. As men and women, as adults, you have to learn to read consistently. I was a kid, I hated books. I thought that was the dumbest thing in the world was to buy books. But now you can look around me and see all these books. This is my current book right here. I'm probably going to start doing book reviews too. It's called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff by Richard Carlson, Dr. Richard Carlson, right? So I started reading this, and it's great, man. It's a great book. So y'all check this out. But that's the thing I want to tell you guys, man, is when you look at books and stuff like that, it made me think. I go to this prison, it made me think about all the distractions you have in life. Just to go speak for 1 hour would take my whole day. Just to be somewhere would take my whole day, right? That means less phone calls, less studying, less everything, right? So think about your time, your activities. You're doing a lot of activities, but all those activities resorting back to impact. When I interned in corporate America and I was at these big private equity firms, I mean hundreds of billions, right? They didn't care about what you did. They care about the impact that you had. If your job was to go out and get new clients, they didn't care about how many meetings you had. They didn't care about how much food you had. They didn't care about how many anything that you had, right? They cared about how much did you impact them? How much did you bring in any clients? Yes or no, right? That's what people cared about. Oh, that's my guy, Bruce Wayne. What's going on, Bruce Wayne? Just saw Bruce at the Colorado Buffalo game. It was at homecoming last weekend. We got Bruce Wayne in the building, man. I'm surprised y'all up this late at night. I wouldn't expect nobody. But it's just me in my office just talking a little bit. I've been gone for a while. I know I've been gone for a while, but we're going to get into it tonight, y'all. We are going to get into it tonight. So I'm going to ask you guys and girls, so far this year, the market consists of 11 sectors. I'm going to talk about these sectors. The first sector is communications, industrial, real estate, consumer distractions, material, technology, consumer staples, financials, utility, energy, and health. Last, most important, cash. Every stock, every investment falls into one of those sectors. Now, we don't know what's going to happen next month. Another month from now, by the end of this year, we don't know what's going to happen in 2023. You know, it's been a wild, crazy market. But, Antonio, if you were here, I told you last year, you said, Prince, man, thank you so much. You remember in 2020 during the pandemic, you invested in the Gush, and Gush was probably like $2, $3. If you remember my strategy of why I said, hey, the energy sector, I chose the energy sector at that time because it was trash. XLE energy was horrible in 2023. If you remember during the pandemic, gas prices stopped to drop because the demand for gas fell off big time because people were staying at home. So the whole energy sector had a big fall off during the pandemic. All the talks of oil, I was not a big oil fan. Still not a big oil fan. Oil spikes every now and then, but I'm not a long-term holder of oil, right? People call it liquid gold. That's just me. You know, maybe I might change my mind, right? But guess what happened? You saw this entire energy sector was horrible in 2020. So that was the reason why I said it wasn't no backhand pseudo Jedi mind trick. I said, you know what? This is the worst performing sector. Every dog would have his day. Who would turn this thing around and become the Cinderella story? That's exactly what oil did in 2022, 2021. Oil became the Cinderella story of investments, right? Oil went up, Gush went up, and Antonio was like, Prince, thank you, man. You told us about Gush or whatever, right? And it was the same thing. And I already knew once they have that big run, the market is going to switch again. Last year, what was the worst performing sector? Last year, the worst performing sector of the market was not real estate, but retail. We saw all this inflation and recession talk, and oh my God, we're about to die, and we're in the war. But if you guys really read history, you'll realize what we got going on in 2023 is child's play. I want you guys to read this book here that talks about what we're going through. It's called $1 Trillion Triage. The $1 Trillion Triage, right? This is talking about current day. This is the $1 Trillion Triage. This is a book I read that talks about the 2020. When we saw that money get flooded around and stuff like that, we talked about that. This we talked $1 trillion, and it has Jerome Powell, who's now the Fed chair. It has, I can't even think of her name. She's the mother goose, Jane Yellen. That's her name. She's now the Secretary of Treasury. Secretary of Treasury. Jerome Powell's the Fed chair. Man, I can't remember his name, what he did. But you got President Trump. It's all talking about what we went through in 2023 when everybody thought we was all going to die. If you compare what we consider to be the worst thing in the world in 2020, and you go back to this book here. Let me find this book here. Let's say here. Let me find it. I got it in here somewhere. Or maybe I got some books outside too. But I don't see it in here right now. But, oh man, where is it at? It got to be in here somewhere. But it's called The Greatest Trade Ever, I think. And when you go through that book, you'll realize the crap we going through today will make you laugh. The stuff they was facing back then. He said, I need a book list. Bruce said he needs a book list. Yeah, a lot of people don't read because guess what? Let me tell y'all something. Let me go. That y'all said this. Y'all gonna make me think about it now. Let's go back to brand. Let me tell y'all about something. You take somebody like Warren Buffett. When everybody does the same thing, there's no edge. The newspaper, back in the day, Warren Buffett used to read newspapers, and I heard Todd Combs. It was Ted. I can't say Ted's last name. He's pretty much like the CIO, the chief investment officer of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. And him and Todd, I think it was Todd and Ted that said this. He said, hey, back in the day, everybody used to read the Wall Street Journal. If everybody reads the Wall Street Journal, everybody goes to school, there is no edge. If we all do the same thing, if we all get up in the morning and read CNBC, and we regurgitate whatever CNBC says, how can you really find an edge? Newspapers, reading the Wall Street Journal, didn't provide you an edge because everybody had it. What investor didn't know what was the hot thing on Wall Street by reading the Wall Street Journal? Now you fast forward today. Nobody reads newspapers, so now you can have an edge. I say all that to say, back in the day, people used to read books. It was unheard of to go to somebody's house and they don't have a bookshelf, a library, or whatever, right? You fast forward today, you'll be hard pressed to find somebody with a bookshelf in their house. Now, granted, we do have it. We do have ebooks and we do got audio books. I get it. But so many people, as an investor, they look for gems because they read things that other people are not reading. Back in the day, everybody read newspapers. When everybody read newspapers, you no longer had an edge. Now, nobody really reads newspapers. Now you can find all type of things in newspapers. Not that many people read these days. So since most people don't read these days, and if you buy a book and read it, you'll be 10 times smarter than other people. When I sit down and talk to older people, they'll be shocked to see how much I know about their era. I wasn't here in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, but I can pick up different books and read different things and pick up on different things. So I'll probably start doing some more read lists and stuff like that. So, but anyway, when you look at what we got, the $1 Trillion Triage, the 2023 book, what they talked about was supposed to be so catastrophic for us is child's play compared to what these people was going through. They was talking about going through wars. You're talking about in the rolling 20s when credit was created. You're talking about a Great Depression. You're talking about World War II. You're talking about Korea. You're talking about some real stuff going on. Us getting off of the dollar. All these big things that happened. Even in 2008 was way worse. When we had the real estate, when those collateralized debt obligations, CDOs, killed the market. You saw, I was waking up in 2023, Bank of America was filing bankruptcy. Ford was filing bankruptcy. We was in Afghanistan and Iraq. I literally was in Iraq in 2008. We got a war going on in Afghanistan. We got oil prices. We had unemployment. I mean, man, I thought the world was coming to an end, right? And after all that, I thought the world was coming to an end. What ended up happening? We still found a way to make it through. So in 2023, what's the worst thing we got going on in 2023? Oh, interest rates are going crazy. We on the brink of World War III. You know how many times I heard that story? So I look at what people are, the thing that's putting so much fear into people. If you really know the history, you realize, like, man, this ain't, we've been through 10 times worse. 10 times worse than made it out. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to talk too much. I want to get into the worst and best sector of 2023. I recently just listed out the top 11 sectors of the market. That means that any stock you have out there, any investment you have, every company follows into one of the 11 sectors. And I wrote them out. The 11 sectors are communications, industrial, real estate, consumer discretionary, material, technology, consumer staples, financials, utilities, healthcare. And then you got cash. Like I said earlier, cash was very hot, 5%. Cash beat out most of the sectors in the market. Cash beat out consumer staples. It's beat out financials. It beat out utilities. It beat out material. It beat out communications. It beat out real estate. And it beat out industrials, right? That's over half of them cash. By just putting your money into a money market account, you'd have beat most sectors of the market this year. So now here's the thing. The number one performing sector of this year so far, from January to now, is, drum roll please, I wish I was in the studio, but it has been technology, the technology sector. Amazon, people don't realize that Amazon, or Tesla itself, has jumped up 10%. Let's go ahead, let's look at it. Let's look at TSLA so far. Tesla. How have you turned up this year, right? 94%. Here we go. You know what? I should have went live on Instagram. I'll do it the next time. Let's see, present. And we're going to go to, I'm going to share y'all my other screen because y'all already know I'm not going to talk about, hopefully y'all can see that. I don't know why I got this dark thing on my screen. I got it on here. So when I'm in here at night, I ain't got to worry about it. So you look at Tesla. So far this year, Tesla has gone up 94%. Technology, year to date. Let's look at Microsoft, MSFT. So far this year, Microsoft is up 50%. Microsoft is up 50%. Let's look at Amazon, right? So far this year, Amazon is up 63%. But the granddaddy of them all, y'all heard me talk about this all year. Who has been the bad mother scooter all this year at 97%? You're right, Uber. Uber has gone up 97%, and most people don't even know nothing about it. Where I'm at right here. Uber, 97% so far this year, right? It's almost getting back to, so guess what, guys? I hate to say this. Uber had a great year, right? It was at $29 this year. It started the year off at $25. Uber has doubled in its value in 1 year. Now, the thing I hate to say it, guys and girls, this is going to be hard to sustain. It's going to be hard. Uber almost did 100% this year. How you think Uber's going to do next year? Right? Now you look at Uber up 97%. What has Lyft done? Let's see what Lyft done so far this year. Its top competitor. Lyft has gone down 9%. Uber has gone up 97%. So far this year in 2023, Lyft down 9%, Uber up 97%, right? How many people did I told about Uber? Now, let's look at the competition. Let's look at DoorDash. How has DoorDash performed this year? DoorDash has done pretty good, 74%. So now instead of comparing Uber and Lyft like I used to, now I got to go with Uber and DoorDash, right? Because I don't think Grubhub is publicly traded. So, but yeah, so you got DoorDash is in here. When you look at this, ladies and gentlemen, also you got to look at everything that's in that sector. What have they done? So, Antonio, if you're in here, I told you about Want, WANT. Last year, Want was the worst performing sector. Let's go back 5 years. And we're going to look at 2022, beginning of 2022. January, let's go. I think it's probably about the closest I can narrow it in here. January 7th, this thing was at 87%. 87%, right? And last year it went from $87. I'm sorry, 87%, $87. And it started this year off at around $17. It went from $87 all the way down to $17. That's a massive fall off a cliff that you've seen happen in consumer discretionaries. When it comes to 2023, things start off at $17. I say, you know what? You can't fall off the floor. Retail is the worst thing that's out there. I looked into the retail space. And when I look into the retail space is, give me 1 second. Where did I put my board at? There we go. Retail is consumer discretion. It's XLY. XLY. This is just an index I kind of use to look at retail. So far, you look at this year, retail is going up 23%, right? Cool, good. It wasn't like that last year. But let's see what it's holding. Let's go deeper. This was the worst. XLY was the worst. It was the worst sector in the market last year. When you go look at this worst sector, the worst section of the market, this is what it was tracking. It was tracking Amazon. It had Tesla, McDonald's, Nike, Home Depot, Starbucks, Lowe's, Booking. They had the worst year last year, right? O'Reilly's was in there. Chipotle, Airbnb, Marriott, AutoZone, Ross was inside of here. This is what consumer discretionary was. The reason why you saw this perform so bad is when you're in a bad market, right? When you're looking at consumer discretionary, give me 1 second. When you look at it, when you're in a bad market, when money is tight, when you have high inflation, people buy less stuff. Nobody's going to go out there and buy a new phone when they don't know if they have a job tomorrow. So consumer discretionary got hit hard. This whole sector was horrible. I just told you how much Amazon went up this year, right? So last year I said, hey, let's go with Want because I found another way. Hey, look at these companies. They're having a downtime. Look at Tesla. Turned it around this year, 94% up. Look how much Amazon. These companies are coming back up. They didn't hit new highs, but they're coming back up big time. Now, my concern with Uber, I think Uber is approaching its all-time high. And I told you guys, anybody that follow the show, no, I'm a big Uber fan. People laugh at me. No, it ain't. Uber's all-time high was 2021 at $60. So Uber was unprofitable. I didn't say Uber was the best company in the world because I just like to ride around in Uber. I'm telling you this because when you look at the competition in the space, they're the only ones that's there. Hold on, who we got here? Joe Exclusives. He says, evening, Prince and fellow listeners. Joe, what's going on, Joe, man? Where you out of? Y'all tell me where you from. I know Antonio said he was out of Philly. I know P for Life is out of Arizona. Max B, I think Max B out there in Washington State. Bruce, I know you're here. Al, I know you're here. Joe Exclusive. I don't know where you're at, Joe. But yes, so when we look at this particular market this year, you're seeing Want. Is what I told everybody, right? Oh, Cincinnati is in the building. I never been to. Joe, you did call in once, Joe. Joe, you did call in once. I have. I'm not taking the calls tonight, but if you write it, we'll talk tonight. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a bull person. I'm always going to be on the bull side of the market. I'm always going to believe in the upside. I have my friends call and tell me about doomsday. The world is going to end. We're on the brink of World War III. We got China going on. We have uh, we have China going on. We have all this stuff going on. Prince, the world is going to end. The dollar is going to collapse. Brick. Remember, I did the episode. All you guys tuned in when I did bricks. Oh, bricks is going to come together and collapse the dollar. All this other stuff and getting steel. President Trump is going to kill us all. President Biden is going to kill us all. You know, I heard it. I heard it all. Yet and still, the people who invest straight through it wins. People took their money out and ran the cash. People went and brought CDs. People put their money in their pockets, under their mattress, all that other stuff. Yet and still, the dumb guy who invests straight through it wins. That's a sad, hard truth. So we look at the entire market right now. You got technology is roaring for 2023. It is the best sector. And the worst sector is healthcare. So far this year, technology has been the best. Number two, up under technology has been consumer discretionary. The worst performing sector has been healthcare. Now, when I look at the worst performing sector down 7%, healthcare, let me double check. Yeah, they're down 7%. Well, they're right there with consumer staples. So you look at healthcare and consumer staples, they're at the two worst performing sectors. When I find those worst performing sectors, this is how I discover the diamond in the rough, because you can't be down forever and you can't fall off the floor. Uber, I love you, but you went hot this year. You doubled from January to now. You almost doubled your value, right? And every time I got in an Uber ride, I would tell my buddies who was driving Uber, I said, hey man, buy some Uber stock. You know, I'm like, look, dude, it's $30 right now. It's $20. It's $40. You know, you're driving for Uber. Why not invest in the Uber? That's what I would tell my Uber when I would be back there getting my Uber. I was taking Ubers out of New York. I was in Ubers in DC. I was in Ubers in California. Ubers in Denver. I don't really think I really Uber in Denver too much. Yeah, I think I maybe took an Uber when I was going to drink or something. Every time I got in Georgia, I was in the Uber. Atlanta, Chicago. I told them, hey guys, you guys are driving for Uber, but hey, why won't you invest into it, man? It's only going to cost you $30, $40. I wonder if any of them listened or even knew who I was to listen, to say, hey, you know what? You know what? This goofy guy got in my car. He might be on to something. If they did, they outperformed the market. The stock market did 15%. So don't tell me how good your individual stocks did. Did your whole entire portfolio move 15%? If you did, you underperformed. Some of the clients' portfolios I manage, larger clients, I underperformed the market. Why? I was timid. Not because I was personally timid. Clients were timid. Clients were scared, right? So when the clients are scared, it's their money at the end of the day. All I can do is give you the best advice. I tell you now, if you call me with that world is going to end stuff, I ain't trying to hear it, right? I mean, one day it will be in. One day you will be right. Will we have down times? Yes. But I don't like to wake up in the morning on the pessimistic side. You go through history, through all of that crap that done went on in the world. I can't even think of everything that happened in the last 20 years economically. We still won. Now, anyway, Uber turns out to be a big winner for the year. I had to rub that in on everybody because everybody's like, Uber, you're dumb, dude. You're crazy. The taxi cab companies are strong. This is going to happen. This is blah, 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 right? So, hey, he had a hot year. Now you got to be ready, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to cool down next year. Now, you know what? Let's take a look at this jobs report. Let's take a look at this jobs report. I'm going to pull up this jobs report because jobs, looking at who's hiring, could be what sectors are hiring and laying off the most is a great indicator of things to come. Let's look at this jobs, Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'll give you 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. We're going to go through the jobs report. This is very important in finance because the employment situation summary, if I can see who's hiring and who's not hiring, then that could be a good indicator of a potential sector. I'm surprised y'all are in here. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm going to go live on my Instagram. If y'all not following me on Instagram, y'all go check me at the Investor Show. People told me I need to go live over there too. So guess what I'm going to do it today? We're going to turn this camera around. We're just going to go live, y'all. Middle of the night. It's 11 o'clock at night over here in Denver. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is going to be on the playback. It's going to be on the podcast too. All right. Let's get it on here. Y'all give me 1 second. I got this jobs report coming up. We're going to go through that. We're going to look at the sectors of that. Then we're going to go to the Mortgage Bankers Association too. If you don't know what that is, you're going to learn today. So here we go. All right. Nope. Stand up. So there you go. Now I'm on live on Instagram and I'm live on YouTube. And I think I should be on Facebook too. So I'm doing all 3 of them, as some people would say. Wow, he said, man, it's 1 a.m. in Cincinnati. I need to call this a late night show. It's pretty late night. I need a haircut too. But we're here. So let's take a look at this job situation, right? See, let me tell you guys something. Before we go into it, let me give you guys a little background on something I learned and studied from this job situation. When you're looking at the jobs report, the problem with the jobs report is, that's my guy Al. He over there. Okay. So here's the thing about the jobs report, right? When you look at what's going on in the economy, you look at what's going on in the world, and you watch the jobs report, the first thing a company does when it's getting ready to expand, it starts to hire more people, right? It starts to hire more and more people. So that could be a leading economical indicator of the sectors that are hiring and firing. So let me pull this up. Let me share here. And let's go. Let me share. Where we at here? There we go. Oh, I didn't bring it in. Let's go. Let's add it on in then. There we go. Let's look at this jobs report from October. So here we are. The economical situation report that came out, right? They had $150,000, not $150,000, 150,000 jobs added in October, right? And the employment rate changed a little to 3.9%. Unemployment is very low. We already know when people have money, what do people do when they have money? When people have money, they start to spend more, right? So the jobs gains occurred in healthcare. See, this is the stuff you need to hear, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. This stuff that I probably wouldn't even talk about or even give out, unless it probably was clients or something like that. But I love you guys as much because you guys created me for who I am today. You guys got me this far. I mean, you're talking about 1 o'clock in the morning. You guys are in here listening to this boring topic. I'm not entertaining. I don't have nothing. I don't make people laugh. I'm not a sex symbol or nothing like that. I'm just talking about what's in my head. I'm not an athlete or anything, right? I don't use my body. I use my brain. So here's the thing, right? When I'm sitting back looking at this jobs report, here is something. We're live on YouTube, right? Here's something that you see. This is the first line. The total non-farm, this is coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, economical situation summary. This came out on November 3rd. So this talking about last month job reports. You know, hey, how you doing there? I see people coming in there on Instagram. So here we got, right? It says total non-farm payroll employment increased by 150,000 in October. And the unemployment rate is little changed at 3.9%. Low unemployment means people are going to spend money. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today job gains occurred in healthcare, government, social assistance, employment decline in manufacturing due to strike activity. So manufacturing decline due to strike activity. But what did we just say earlier? What is the worst performing sector so far? What is the worst performing sector so far of 2023? It has been healthcare. Out of the 11 sectors of the market, healthcare has been at the bottom, right? But guess what? I always tell everybody this year has been a year of technology and consumer distractions. The market is going to shift. Healthcare is going to rise and do well as well. Guarantee you. So when I look at this and they say job gains occurred in healthcare, why are we having big job gains in healthcare and it's the worst performing sector? To me, this starts to line up things for me to look into healthcare. Okay, it seems like healthcare could be something that's undervalued at the time. I don't care about what's hot. Uber is hot right now. Y'all should listen to me last year when I talked about Uber. When I was talking about Uber and SP500, cool, whatever, right? But now we're looking at the thing about it is we don't want to sit here and talk about the past. We don't want to talk about the rearview mirror. We want to talk about things into the future, going into the future, right? So now we've watched and we sit back and seen that according to the top 11 sectors, we went over this, the top 11 sectors. 11 sectors of communications, and industrials, real estate, consumer discretionary material, technology, consumer staples, finance, utilities, healthcare, and cash. The worst one has been healthcare. But we're reading the job situation report, and it's telling us most of the jobs came in through healthcare. Now, manufacturing. Okay, here we go. Let's look further into this healthcare. Healthcare added 58,000 jobs in October, in line with the average monthly gain of 53,000 over the prior 12 months. Over the month, employment continued to trend up due to healthcare services, 32,000, hospitals, nursing homes, and residential, 8,000. So here we go. Let's take a look into healthcare then. Let's see what healthcare is doing. All right. Let's see what healthcare is doing, y'all. So when I see this, hopefully you guys kind of see where my thought process is going. Joe Exclusive says out in Cincinnati says it's 1 o'clock in the morning. But now, Joe, let's take a look. Now we're seeing healthcare is the worst performing sector, but we're seeing employment build up in healthcare. Could that lead me to believe something is happening with healthcare? Let's take a further look inside this healthcare thing. So let's see. We're going to go to Google and XLV. We're going to leave this one here. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Click on the wrong page. So I'm going to track XLV. This is just an ETF that tracks the healthcare sector by the spider, right? Nothing's fancy. So I'm looking at XLV. I want to see what their holdings are. Because you're tracking something. Look at their holding list. So this is XLV Healthcare. Their top holdings is United. So it has the most weight, index weight. 10% of this thing is United Health Group. The next one is Eli Lilly. I never heard of this Eli Lilly company. Johnson & Johnson, I've definitely heard of. Merrick and Company. Pfizer is in here. So you look at healthcare. Okay, let's take a look at United Healthcare. Not United Healthcare, United Health Group. Right? Let's take what is this? UNH. Right? We're going to go to UNH. UNH. Okay. It's at $500. It's only up 3%. You guys can see that. So let's see where is it. Okay, so it seems to be definitely way higher. So when I look at something like this, you know, what's the 52-week high? 553. Okay. Doesn't seem to be that far off. So this is an individual company. Now, if you want to go into healthcare, you're like, hey, Prince, you got United Health Group. United Health Group don't look too attractive to me. Just looking at, hey, it hasn't had a crazy year fall off. It probably pays a nice dividend, 1.4% on dividend, $539. Um, the last 5 years is up 98%. You know, let's look to see how it did last year. Last year, 2022, let's go back to January 2022. It was at about $500. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's about 466. So it's a pretty solid, steady company. So it hasn't fell off a whole lot. Let me see. Uh let's see what you call it, right? Let's see they got some their bearish and bullish ETFs have done on healthcare. No. But so with every single sector you have, right? You could become somebody that likes to go into leverage and bullish ETFs. That's another way, right? When I look at healthcare, this is something I never really invested in. XLVY. Never really uh, got into portfolios like that. But these are the things you got to look for because you'll be surprised in a year or two from now, healthcare could take off in the market. But healthcare has always kind of been like that solid thing that just kind of stayed by itself, right? So that's a good one. So now this is something that catches my eye. Worst performing sector. I see you're hiring out jobs, but I want to get too distracted. Let's go back to the jobs report. Let's go back. All right. So healthcare added on pretty good jobs. We lost jobs due to a strike, manufacturing. I can't really count that because losing jobs to a strike that's an artificial thing. That's a situation that happens. That always happens, right? So let's go here. Look at employment statuses. No, these are the people that entered the job force and left the job force. That's cool, but that's not what I'm looking for. Household. Okay, let's take a look. Okay. So, where did we lose the most jobs? Look like we lost the most jobs in motor vehicle. Motor vehicle and supply. That's kind of crazy. Down 33% in October. It was hot at one time, but it's kind of cooled off. Motor vehicles and parts. I don't know. I don't know. I just think of the shade tree mechanic. You can't be a shade tree mechanic no more these days. You know. So you're saying motor vehicles and parts have the worst performing job. I guess people are leaving that industry or the industry is hiring off or whatever. But healthcare is the hottest sector. Healthcare and social assistance is the hottest sector. Followed behind the government, right? I'm not crazy about a bunch of government jobs. I like private sector jobs, you know. But it's kind of messed up. Some companies are not. Some companies are independent, but they're relied upon the government. So is it really an independent private company? because the government cuts funding, they're done. So yeah. So here, that's very interesting. Healthcare is on my radar now, just because of that. When we just by following, but you can see how I look at the jobs report, and looking at the sector report so far this year to find out what's possibly happening in the future. Let's see what else do we have here. We always got to keep an eye on the great world of real estate. Let's go to mortgage and bankers. Mortgage Bankers Association. Let's head on over here. Let's see what they're putting out here. I like to read some of the stuff. They put out some pretty good analytical stuff. Ooh. Look at this. This came out today. Mortgage delinquencies increase in the third quarter. Y'all see that? What does that tell us? Mortgage delinquencies increased in the third quarter. But I look at all these things and try to put them together. So it says the delinquency rate. This is from the mortgage and MBA.org, Mortgage Bankers Association, mortgagebankersassociation.org. The delinquency rate for mortgage loans and 1 to 4 unit residential properties increased to a seasonal adjustment rate of 3.62% of all loans outstanding at the end of the third quarter of 2023, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association National Delinquency Survey. The delinquency rate was up 25 base points from second quarter 2023, up 17 points from a year ago. The percentage of loans foreclosures actions were started in the third quarter rose by 1 basis point, 2.14. Okay. The national mortgage delinquency rate increased in the third quarter from the record survey low in the second quarter of this year, right? With the uptick in delinquencies across all loan types, conventional, FHA, and VA, said Marina Walsh. She's the CMB MBA vice president, whatever. The increase was driven entirely by a rise in early stage delinquencies, those 30 days to 60 days past due. Later stage delinquency, those are 90 or more past due, declined to the lowest level since first quarter 2020. Okay. So the people who are super late, 90 days or more, that has declined, but the people who are 30 to 60 days late has been an uptick. That's what they got to say. The decline in the later stage delinquency, along with the foreclosure start of 0.14%, which is well below the historic average of 4%, suggested that distressed homeowners may be utilizing available loss mitigation options that prevent a foreclosure to start. Let's read that again. The decline in later stage delinquencies, along with foreclosure starts at 1.4%, which is well below the historical quarterly average of 0.4%, suggests that distressed homeowners may be utilizing available loss mitigation options that prevent foreclosures to start. Additionally, accumulated home equity may be enabling some homeowners to sell their homes well before foreclosure possibilities. That's a very good point. Some people are not foreclosed on their home because they could just sell their home because they got equity. So you don't like to see people struggling to pay mortgages because that's a bad, indicator of the economy. So if unemployment is at 3.9, but people are struggling with their mortgages, what does that say about the overall economy? Okay, here we go. Mortgage delinquencies and unemployment conditions continue to track very close. The labor market has shown signs of weakening, with the unemployment rate increasing to 3.9% in October, the highest level since January 2022. NBA forecasts slower hiring and rising unemployment with a rate of 5% by the end. Oh my God. They're forecasting, because of we're slowing hiring and the rise of unemployment, with the unemployment rate hitting 5% by the end of the year. The increase in unemployment will likely mean further increase in mortgage delinquencies. So as y'all can see here, look at this here. All loans past due, they're tracking the unemployment. So they're saying as unemployment rates rise, people who don't pay their mortgages rise. When people who, as mortgage rates decrease, so they move around like that. Compared to last quarter, student adjustment mortgage rates, okay. So I don't like to see that. So as unemployment go up, that means people become more delinquent on their mortgages. With me, I don't care about nothing else. It comes down to it, I make sure mortgages are paid first. That's the first thing. Joe is saying real estate crash ahead. I think real estate is very indicative of how we play with interest rates. But I can see what you're saying. I can see where you're going because we're seeing more people become delinquent on homes. But here's the thing. If I was delinquent on my house right now, I think right now I probably have about $150,000, $160,000 of equity in my house. If times got rough, what do you think I would do? You think I would go delinquent on my mortgage, or would you think I would just sell my home? I would just sell my home and take the money and run. So when you're looking at this, report by the Mortgage and Bankers Association, we would probably see a whole lot more for home foreclosures, but so many homes have so much equity built up into them. So when you're looking at real estate itself, it was hot. You had low interest rates, everybody jumped in or whatever, but people can start to struggle to pay their mortgages due to unemployment. It's sad to say they're projecting unemployment to go up by 1% next year. By the end of this year, how many people will become in distress? Right? So let's think about this logical, Joe, in Cincinnati. If unemployment is expected to rise by 1% by the end of this year, and we know unemployment and mortgage delinquencies track with each other one-on-one, I think that more houses will become on the market to sell. Because if I run into a hard time with paying my mortgage, but I have equity in my house, I will sell my house. People who don't want to sell their house usually are people who are upside down on their house, meaning they don't have any equity. Meaning that, hey, I paid $400,000 for my house. I paid $400,000, but it's only worth $300,000. I don't want to sell it for a loss. So you're going to be more like, you don't want to put that, even when hard times hit, you don't want to put that house on the market. But if hard times are hitting and I have equity in my house, I'm going to either take out a home equity loan or I'm going to just sell the house. So you may see more houses come on the market to sell. Think about it. If I had a hard time, I live in Denver, Colorado. I would sell my house and I would go to a lower cost area. I would go to the South. Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia. They might not be the most desirable places, but they're definitely more cost effective. In Denver, the average home price is about $600,000 for every single family home. But if you are out in, let's say, Georgia, you could get you a real nice house for $300,000. So when you look at that, ladies and gentlemen, what does that make you think? So looking at that data there, I don't like that, right? So we're looking at, they're projecting unemployment at 3.9, that we're probably going to end at 5% by the end of this year, unemployment, because of the rate of how we're slowing down. We are slowing down hiring, right? And people that are laying off, those numbers are not going to correlate. So more people are going to become delinquent. And I think as people become delinquent, they'll probably sell their house. If they sell their house, that means there's more houses on the market. And if there are more houses on the market and these high interest rates, then people could buy. It would make sense. That would be the perfect storm. The perfect storm is people have a hard time maintaining their mortgages. They put their houses on the market. Too many houses come on the market. the mortgage rates are so high, that means that the houses prices have to drop. Prices have to come down to accommodate for high interest rates. Just because of the price of the house is low, mortgage mortgages are up because of interest rates are up. So the perfect storm could be people lose their job, people are selling their house to get the equity. Now there are more houses, there are more sellers than buyers, turning into a buyer's market. The buyers start to lower their prices to compete because now you got a competition down to the bottom. And we still in these high interest rate society because the interest rates are so high, you're going to have to bring down the house prices. So what it could do is start to decrease home prices. But this is exactly what they want to do with interest rates in the first place. If it starts to decrease home prices, then that could be opportunities come out in real estate. That's my overall analysis when I look at everything together. When I look at, looking at our unemployment rate at 3.9, looking at mortgage delinquencies increasing in the third quarter, and stuff like that. But it's pretty hard to lose a house these days. But Joe, that's definitely a good synopsis there. But yeah, it's almost midnight here in the Mile High City in Denver. For the people that check me out here on Instagram, I start coming back and forth on my Instagram live. I seen a couple people peek their head in here there. But I see that everybody's tuning in here on my YouTube and I think it's my Facebook too. So yeah, that's going to conclude everything today, guys. This is going to be on the podcast too. If you are catching this on Spotify or whatever, y'all come on and catch it in live and say hello. Thank for everybody that came in and had a nice conversation. Y'all already know my name. My name is Prince Dykes. Definitely appreciate y'all for coming in. As always, check out our book drive. You can head over to Colorado Gives. Check out. I got to drop our link here. We're going to give out some of our books about investing, credit, insurance, and real estate. If you haven't brought these books for your kids and nephews, make sure you check them out too. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be my time for tonight. I got to go in here and go be a husband now. So anyway, until the next video, podcast, cartoon, or whatever else you see me doing around the globe, peace, be safe. I'm out.